What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be sharing my top tips with you guys on how you can make the most of your Freshers Week. It can be quite a daunting time. You've never potentially moved away from home before, you're going to be meeting lots of new people, and there are going to be an awful lot of new opportunities for you. So I'm going to share my top tips for you guys so that you can have the best Freshers Week possible. Let's get into the video. So before we get into the main part of this video, I want to sort of just explain to you guys in as simple terms as possible what your Freshers Week actually is. So Freshers Week is basically an introduction to university and to university life. Now, every student is very different. Certain students are going to want to love going out and partying, others are perhaps a bit more relaxed and would rather go to a pub or would rather stay at home. Either way, there is something for everybody at university. So please don't feel afraid or scared that going to university is this sort of big ominous thing and you're going to be made to drink, because that's simply not true. Now, pretty much every university across the country is going to have a freshers plan or a freshers sort of week guide. And basically, this is a daily from probably Monday through to the Saturday. It's going to be sort of a week-long sort of timetable full of activities that you guys can get yourselves involved in. Now, for most of you, you are going to be moving into your halls of residence very soon. This in itself can be quite scary, but you do not have to worry. All universities have a union team, which is basically previous students or current students that have been sort of signed up to welcome you to the university, to help you move into your halls of residence, and to fill you guys up with a little bit of confidence that you're getting yourself into a good pathway and a good journey. Now, when you first turn up to your halls, my honest suggestion is to try and find your housemates and to socialise with them. Introduce yourself. Make that first step. It can be a bit scary, but one thing you guys have to remember is that you're all in the same boat, and people will tell you this over and over again, but you're all in the same boat. Most of you are probably going to be 18 or 19. There will be a few people that are like in their early 20s that have taken gap years or that weren't sure what they wanted to do, but either way, you guys will all be in the same boat, and so you need to sort of make friends with each other, speak to each other, find out a little bit about them, give yourself to them in many ways, and just become friends, because you're going to spend the next year living together. Now, a lot of freshers will be well known or be very interested in drinking, and drinking is quite a big culture at university, but it's not what university is all about. University is obviously about getting a degree fundamentally, but there is so much more to university than just getting a degree and just going out drinking. You make some potentially lifelong friends. I know myself people that have actually found their future partners through university. It really is such a fantastic environment to be in, and I can assure you, you're about to embark on 3 or 4 years of the best 3 or 4 years of your life. Now, in a minute I'm going to go through a few tips on my sort of survival techniques in terms of sort of doing well in freshers, and there are going to be some things that do apply to you and some things that don't, so take them with a pinch of salt and just, you know, perhaps apply these and think about these things when you're about to start. Anyone fancy a beer? Tip number 1. Take yourself a crate of beer, a bottle of wine, or a bottle of spirits of your choice. The reason being is because that first night when you're at university, in your halls of residence, the best way to get to know your housemates is over a drink. Now, you may well go out to a local pub or to the bar, or you may well just sit in your common room or your kitchen and have a few drinks. Firstly, it's good for your nerves. You're all probably a little bit nervous, you've never done something like this before, and so having a couple of drinks is not that bad. Secondly, you're going to find out some killer stories of your housemates when everyone has had a few drinks. Cheers. My tip number 2, guys, is to go out and do as much as you possibly can. Now, what I mean by that is during the day, go out, find a nice place to have some breakfast. Go out during the day, look around the town, explore where your home is going to be for the next 3 years. Go out and make new friends, do different things. Because you're at university, these are going to be 3 or 4 years that are going to be unbelievably exciting. They're going to be jet-packed, but most importantly, they're going to disappear before you know it, because university's full on, there's lots of stuff going on, and time simply flies. So make the most of that first week, whilst you've not got loads of work piling on top of you, and go out and explore the area, make new friends, and make the most of every opportunity that you possibly can. Now when I mean this, little things, go to your Freshers Fair. Sign up to something that you wouldn't even consider doing, because I can assure you from personal experience, you might sign up to something that you stick at and you find your passion in. Right guys, I've got this. This is on me. This is on me. Right guys, tip number 3. This is one I see a lot, is be careful with your money. Now I can't say this enough. You will be getting a fair amount of money dropping into your account, I expect. This isn't a rule for everyone, it depends on your student finance, but you will get some money from student finance if you signed up for it. Now, a common thing that people do is they see it as just a load of money that they've been given that they can go and spend on whatever. But it's not. It is there to support you, and I can assure you that you do not want to have money problems when you're at university. Now, you are going to have money problems at some point. It's like natural of being a student. You don't have much money to play with, and you want to go out and drink all the time, and be out with friends all the time, and do stuff. And so you will have some points where you potentially need to go into an overdraft. But don't waste all your money on random stuff, guys. Don't go out thinking that you've all of a sudden won the lottery because student finance has dropped. You have lots of other things that you need to think about. You've got your bills to pay for that you may not have paid for before. If you bring a car with you, you need to be wary of your car costs. So just because you've got all this money, don't fritter it away on pointless crap. The second thing, guys, is go to your bank and sign up to a student account, because student accounts are a lot more forgiving than the account that you're probably on already. Now, most banks have a sort of a form of student package that you can sign up to. Normally, it will give you the opportunity to have an overdraft that doesn't charge you interest, so you don't have to worry if one month you're lacking on money, you can potentially go into that overdraft. Now, I'm not going to give you any financial advice, it's not my position, but from experience of having done university already, having an overdraft is incredibly useful, especially a student-based one that doesn't charge you, because there will be times where you feel like you need to dip into it a little bit before your next student finance drops. And so having an overdraft that is not going to charge you is very, very important, and it's very, very useful. Plus, it gives you the sort of the safety, the mindset of if you are struggling with money a little bit, then you have that as a backup. But that's exactly what it is. It is a backup. It's not something that you should look at as an sort of an invisible pot of money that's hidden there that you can dip into, because you'll have to replace it. So be careful. Okay guys, so if you do go out drinking, there's a very high chance that you're going to end up with a hangover. Now, if you've had hangovers before, you probably know how to deal with them. If you haven't, or if you haven't had that many hangovers, I'm going to try and give you guys some tips on how to deal with them. Now, the first thing I would suggest is, unless you have an ensuite in your halls or in your bedroom, make sure that you have a bucket in your bedroom, because there's nothing worse than being sick in your room and smelling it for the rest of the day. It's quite disgusting. Have some paracetamol or ibuprofen next to your bed, along with a bottle of water, not a glass or a cup. The reason I say not a glass or a cup is there's a very high chance of you spilling it during the night or in the morning, whereas a bottle you can sip from and you can throw it all over the place and it doesn't matter. Keep the curtains closed, and for me at any rate, make sure you've got a window open before you go out, because there's nothing worse than waking up, your room being like 300 degrees, and you just festering in your bed, dying, wishing that you were no longer alive. In terms of getting over your hangover, there's no real easy way of saying this, but you're going to have to just man up and deal with it. My suggestion is get something that you can eat that is sort of manageable. For me, when I always used to get hangovers, or when I still do get hangovers, I feel sick. So having a bottle of water and sipping on it, if I need to be sick, just being sick, getting it out of your system, and then when I can, eating something like some toast. Or, believe it or not, I always used to have a pot noodle, because a pot noodle is going to fill you up, but it's easy to eat. Or soup. If you're one of these tough people that can deal with hangovers, get yourself to a greasy spoon. So I've got that then. Right. One of my last tips, guys, is to make sure you get yourself a diary. Now, you can get a whole variety of different diaries, but at this time of year, you're going to get a sort of a half-year diary, or a sort of split-year diary. I've got one here because, as you guys know, I have gone back to do a PGCE course. I will link a video that I sort of spoke a little bit about that in the bio, so if you want to check out why I'm doing it, have a look. But getting yourself a diary is useful for multiple different reasons. As a student, staying organised is really important for multiple reasons. But if you want to look at it in this way, if you've got loads and loads of work that you need to get done and you still want to go out, having a sort of a method of keeping track of what you've done, keeping track of what's due in and so on, means that you're going to have more time later on in the day to be able to meet out with friends, go out, do socials, whatever it may be. So get yourself a diary. You can get them in any high street retailer, things like WH Smith's, or you can go online to places like Amazon. I'll have a little look to see if I can find any links. Now again, I'll put some links in for some reasonably priced diaries in the bio. So go and check them out. My final tip, guys, to make sure that you have the best time as a fresher, to have the best experience, and not just that, to make sure that you get the most out of your university experience, is to make sure that you pack your tea and coffee. Now, in a very British way, we bond over teas and coffees. We get over hangovers with teas and coffees. We get over heartache and sadness with teas and coffees. So, what best way to end my top tips than with a cup of tea? So guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave it a like. If you want to hear anything more about my tips on university, make sure you subscribe, because I've decided that I'm going to do a bit of a university series, looking at all sorts of different stuff when it comes to university life, and giving you guys my honest tips and tricks to being an amazing student. After all, I've done student life, I had an awesome student life, and I absolutely love university. So I'm going to leave this video here, guys, and I'm going to leave you to embark on probably the best 3 or 4 years of your life. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure you leave a comment below if there's anything that you want me to answer. I'll do my best to get back with my honest opinions and my honest tips for you guys to make the most of your next sort of adventure as a student. So until next time, guys, I'm going to head out. Cheers.